Hello and welcome back to another LEGO Star Wars review. This time I'm here with set 75299, Trouble on Tatooine. This set was released on January 1st, 2021, has 276 pieces and is rated ages 7+. It comes with 3 minifigs, as you will see there: the child, now known as Grogu, the Mandalorian in full Beskar armour, and a Tusken Raider. This set retails at around $29.50 in euros, $27.99 in pounds, and $29.99 in dollars. This set is loosely based off episode 1 of season 2 of The Mandalorian. And I say loosely because it doesn't all fit really. The Ballista was nowhere near the Tusken Raider's tent, and the speeder Din Djarin is riding is missing Cobb Vanth and his speeder. So essentially you've got 1, 2, 3 scenes in there, but you know, for the sake of a playset, it does make sense, and it is very good playset for the sake of kids because it gives them a lot of play features in there and a lot of possibilities. Also, looking at the box art, if you want to kind of get into it, they are firing their Ballista at Mando, which is just wrong. And to turn the box around just before I actually get into it, you can see then Mando is facing his gun at the Tusken Raider, and that's also just wrong. But again, as I said, this is kind of really good for a playset because it just gives the right possibilities for play. Mando states he has spent a lot of time on Tatooine, thus learning the sign language of the Sand People and issuing peace between them and the people of the village being plagued by the Kirat dragon, which is what they use the Ballista on. This is the first time we see Mando in full Beskar armour, and everyone's of course delighted to see him there, and also the first time we see Grogu in a set as cheap as €30 or dollars or whatever currency. It's pretty much 30. So that is definitely a major reason for people to buy this set. Notably, the speeder Mando uses fits into the back of the 75292 Razor Crest pretty well if you wanted to, join them together, because I'd probably be doing that. I want to keep the speeder and kind of, I'd probably just throw the rest somewhere. I'll probably throw the Ballista in the wardrobe and keep the tent maybe, because I have a lot of kind of Tatooine little builds, so I'll put the tent with the Tatooine builds as well, and maybe just make some kind of Tatooine mock out of the whole thing. But I know for a fact I will be putting the Beskar Mando into the Razor Crest, and that's just the way that's happening. So it's nice to see that the speeder can come with him. Getting a look now at the rest of the box, you can see on the top here it shows you the 1-for-1 size comparison there for the Mandalorian minifigure. On the side of the box then, it pretty much shows you the same as the front of the box, just a little less. On the other side of the box then, you can see some writing with a LEGO Life logo, and on the bottom of the box, pretty standard stuff there. On the back of the box then, you can see a few play features. Now, this includes the fact you can open and close the tent, although it doesn't really look that right when it's open, but it's again a play set specifically, so anything goes. It shows that Grogu can fit into this little pouch on the side of the speeder bike, which also looks like it might be able to fit on the Mandalorian's neck. So maybe you can make kind of a backpack out of that. I'm not sure yet. Well, I haven't even opened the set, so I'll let you know once I get into that. And then also, of course, you can see the Ballista has a spring-loaded shooter there on the top. Notably, a nice kind of silver spring-loaded shooter ammo in there, which is nice to see. I don't think we've seen that before. If we have, we haven't seen it in a while, or just haven't seen it much. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the back of the box. Let's get into the review. So, this is the overview for Trouble on Tatooine. Now, as you can see, you get your speeder bike. You get your Tusken Raider tent there, and you also get the Ballista with a spare torpedo there. You get a little kind of pot with a bone in it for the Tusken Raider's tent there. You also get your 3 figures. You get your Raider, you get Mando in Beskar armour, and Baby Yoda. Mando comes with his 2 guns, and of course the gaffy stick then comes with the sand person there as well. So that's kind of all you get with the set. A nice little bit for 30 quid. Let's get straight on to the minifigs. So first up here we have Grogu. We've seen him in the brick built version of Grogu, and we've also then seen him in the Razor Crest. That was pretty much all that we've seen him in so far. So it's nice to get him in this cheaper set. Definitely. He's a fairly standard enough figure. He has a headpiece there that doesn't actually fit onto any other torso because it's just a little bit too small. And his body then is one piece. It goes on one stud there. It's 1x1. It's just literally very plain. There's a little bit of molding to the back, but no printing. His little hands are tiny, so they don't actually hold anything. They're filled in there, as you can see. And there's a tiny little bit of printing on the front there. However, it is accurate, the little bit of print they have there. There has been better molds kind of from custom figures, I think. But that, you know, LEGO had to kind of do something different as well. They didn't want it, like, they can't really do something that a fan has made and then give them royalties to it. There's a little bit of wrinkling up on the head there for the head. You can see his big eyes, and you know it's molded quite well, the head, I think. But there's not really an awful lot more to say about this. It's definitely a nice figure, and as I said, it's great to get him in a cheaper set for once. But yeah, happy enough with this minifigure. Let's move on. Next up, we have the highly anticipated, highly sought after, highly asked for, in huge demand, Beskar Mando. Now, I will say I wanted him a little bit more shiny. I wanted a little bit more silver on him, but getting that straight out of the way, he's a beautiful minifigure. He really is. The leg print in there is really nice. Goes up then to the belt, kind of uniformed very nicely there. As you can see, some of the little lines go straight up and just meet the belt there. And then up above that, you will see his own belt. Not the belt piece, however, but the actual belt print. Also then a little bit of the chest belt kind of thing there that holds all of his ammo, and his printed arms are just amazing. You can see there even that the Mudhorn symbol is printed onto his shoulder there, which is really nice attention to detail there. You've got is that his flamethrower, I think, because his whistling birds are there on the other hand, and it's really nice to see that they have this level of detail in this figure. I think it's amazing improvements to what they have had. The helmet, I think, is a completely different helmet to what the first edition of Mando was, but definitely a lovely minifigure. On his back then, you will see a little bit more of his armor and the belt as well coming back over his back and around the waist there as well. But it's definitely an amazing minifigure, and I'm really happy that they've actually made the full Beskar Mando. I mean, they had to at some stage, didn't they? If they wanted to keep the Mandalorian Lego sets going, they had to make this a figure, and they've done a really good job of it. Now, as I said, he comes with his rifle and his pistol. His rifle, of course, we all know was destroyed when his ship, the Razor Crest, was destroyed. Sorry for the spoiler alert, but I mean, if you haven't seen it by now, then it's kind of your own fault. He also then has his pistol, and under the helmet, surprisingly enough, still a black head. Still a black head, there's still nothing under there, which, you know, we've seen his face in season 1, so they should have maybe a head mold for him. But, you know, I'm not arguing at the moment because the rest of the print on his body is just fantastic. And I'm really happy with this minifigure. On now to our Tusken Raider, who comes with the gaffy stick, which is essentially, they use it as a weapon, and they also use it as their toothpick for the banthas, because they can't really clean their own teeth, the banthas, and, you know, it gets problems and blah blah blah. Anyway, the figure itself is nice. It's nothing new really. We've seen this figure before. We have seen the chest piece before, the legs before, the head as well is kind of, it's new enough to 2019-20. It is the newer version of the Sand People. There's been 2 versions. One was just fully printed, and this one is molded to the high heavens, which is definitely a nice little addition. I think it's nice to have this molded head, but I just, for the sake of like nostalgia, prefer the older Tusken Raiders. But this is definitely a nice, like, they've done the face very well there. It's definitely a nice improvement. It looks hideous, but it's like it's supposed to, so they've actually got that down fairly well. We've seen this in a few other sets, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we've only seen it in 2 sets so far. That was a Skyhopper set versus Bantha, with the brick-built Bantha, and we've also then seen it in Obi-Wan Kenobi's hut from Tatooine. I think that's the only 2 places we've seen it so far. so I'm sure that they will actually use it again in something else. But yeah, happy enough with this minifigure. The Bantha stick is the same as the two other sets that we've got with the Tusken Raider in it. We've always got one of these gaffy sticks. But yeah, again, happy with the minifigure. Let's move on to the builds. So first off, I'm going to start off with the bike. I think, okay, for a start, it is definitely nice looking. I like the detail in it, and I like the kind of, there's just the bits and bobs kind of flying around the place here, like these bits, all these kind of weird bits that make it kind of look a bit more detailed and give the ship a bit more character. It's definitely nice to see these two pouches on the back because, this piece I don't really have a lot of, and it's nice to see that. Also, this piece is fantastic because it's a pouch for Grogu, and you can put that on the back of Mando's head. If you want to take off the cape, you'll have to do that because it's the only real way to get it done, unless you want to put the pouch on the front. But it's definitely a lovely piece to have there, although I will say Grogu kind of gets stuck in it a little bit, not massively because he's one piece, so he's not going to come apart and get stuck properly in it, but you're tempted to take him out by the head and then the head will come off. He fits in there nice and snug, to be honest. You push him down to the bottom there and you can see, you can push him out here if you want to make it easier, but taking it off by the head, it either results in all of it coming off like that, or the head of Grogu coming clean off. But it's again still nice to see that it stays in there rather than falls out, because there's a bit of a struggle if you have kind of bigger fingers or bigger hands. There's a bit of a struggle to get them out, but not a major downside to the thing. But I will say another nice part is the way they have this angled. They have these kind of weird angle pieces, and they hold the poles there, and all of this is kind of, it all moves freely it all moves freely there. So kind of getting the angle of it is, it's easy enough because it comes with this part here, which flattens it down. Once you have the thing sitting down, you just push that down and it usually levels off properly there. I will say, I really do like the look of this, but the one massive problem I'll show you now is the way Mando sits on it. This is... Okay, so first off, getting him to actually get to the seat is a problem, and then you have to get your fingers in there and get him to sit down, and then getting his hands on these things is the next problem. So it's just really not done well, I think. It's like this, for the sake of getting him into the thing, you have to twist his hands as well to actually get him to hold on properly in the first place. So yeah, as you can see, the cape is destroyed there at the back. So we're going to try and push him up a little bit, and then push his legs down. It's like either he's not sitting on it properly there, or if you want to sit him down, he's lying back too much, or his cape is bunched up, or you can kind of make his cape like that if you want to make him in flight. But at the same time, it's just this is coming up too much now, so you have to it's really not a good design for the sake of putting him in there. There's nothing good I can say about him when he's in there, honest to God. If you wanted to, however, move the cape in a way that it kind of goes under him, that's another problem. Taking him off is also another problem. But if you wanted to kind of, as I said, put the cape under him like that, kind of, it's a little bit more effective. But then you're dragging that up. The front of the speeder, as you can see, is dragged up. You have to push him. It's really stiff, because you're trying to move a couple of different pieces at once, so they don't want to move all together. They want to move it's not good. For whenever you want to sit him in there, it's not good. He's either leaning back too much, or else he's pulling this forward, and it's not great. I just don't think it's very good with him in it, but I think I've said that quite enough now. So let's just move straight on to the Ballista. So here we have the Ballista. It's a nice little bit of detail to it. You can move these up if you want. I don't know why you would, or you can move these down, but they will always kind of spring up. You can move them up in about that much to look nice. I actually just keep them all together. That's the way I do it. But it definitely is a nice little build. I love these things on the back to kind of really give the impression of it being like a kind of, you wind it up and then you just click this thing and that goes. But yeah, as I said, you get a spare one of these as well. So that's nice. They also use this for the first time, I think, in this set. It's the silver version of the torpedo. I like the design here of the little wheel on the front, the little archery kind of things. It looks really nice. It looks like a giant crossbow, and to be honest, I really was surprised by it. I thought my favorite thing would be the speeder, but this actually ended up being my favorite thing in the set. But yeah, definitely happy with this little build. That's pretty much all I can really say about it. If you want to see, actually, how the Tusken Raider can hold on to this thing, like if that's something that you were interested in knowing, he can hold on to it, but it kind of drags up. As you can see, the back leg there is kind of lifted a little bit, but you know, it's not really a massive problem. Also then under it you can see the clear brick, and it has also these little legs there as well, so you can make what you want out of that. If you want, kind of put them up a little bit more, or even more again, to angle the ballista as you want it to be angled. That's kind of something you can do. You can raise it a little bit more again. Like, these are things you can do, but you know, I'll probably just leave it like this myself. Yeah, definitely happy with this little build. Let's move on to the tent. On now to the tent, I'll show you a little few functions of this. Like, the first function would be clearly the opening and closing of it. I'd say if you wanted to make a full hut, you'd need 3. So you'd put one either side and then fill out in these parts here, these two, with spares from the third set. I was wondering why this is on an angle. I thought that maybe it went up like that. Maybe if you take off the fire there, it kind of closes a little bit. I don't think so though. I just think it's kind of strange that they have it on that kind of angle. Like, it, you know what I mean? It does kind of close like that. Maybe not really that pretty, but yeah, that definitely is something strange. I'm not sure why they have it on that angle, but yeah, it does open up. As you can see, it looks nice as well. I think you can also fit your little sand person in here and close it up, make it look like he's sitting in there. Also then you were, well, in the instructions told to put the pot here, so that goes in the actual tent. Then you can also put it, you know, just to the side here as if he's after cooking, something like that. Also then you will see this little clip down here, which is actually for the gaffy stick, so he can hold that there. Also then you can make your sand person sit beside the fire if you want. You can make him hold the you know, the pot there if you want to kind of make him hold it illegally a little bit, on some kind of angle like that, pretend he's cooking, you know, for a picture or something. That's definitely one way you can do it. But I can't really say much more about that set. Like, from the other side then, it actually looks kind of nice. I mean, there is holes in it, but I think it still kind of looks nice. I think I would have preferred a tent made out of cloth. Like, when I heard that the tent was coming out, I thought, oh cool, the tent with cloth, I can get loads of them and plant them around and make it look like a proper like village of sand people. But this doesn't really meet those kind of expectations. I still am happy with the build. It could have been better, but I still am generally happy enough with this little build. It does add a little bit to the set, and I think it's good for playability, definitely. So that's pretty much everything I can say about the set. It's a nice little set. Definitely great to see Beskar Armor Mando in there. Definitely nice to get Grogu in a cheaper set. The speeder bike looks good, but as I said, putting Mando on it is a bit iffy. The Ballista actually looks really nice, I think. Surprisingly nice in hand, especially. And the tent, it's a nice little addition. What can I say? It's definitely a good set for playability, and that's kind of what the set was made for anyway. Sure, adults are going to get it for the sake of Mando, but they're also going to complain about it because it's not this and it's not that. But it is, at the end of the day, still a play set. Like, it's aimed at kids. But yeah, definitely a nice set. I will not be buying another one to make the tent full, because I think one Beskar Mando is plenty. But yeah, that's it. Thanks a million for watching my video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below if you think there's anything that needs to be said. Thanks a million, guys. See you again. Take care.